One of the most exhilarating aspects of the Star Wars saga is the idea that someone can tune into and command a mystical power known as the Force, and utilize this in the performance of various supernatural abilities or Force powers. In this video we will take a look at some of these abilities and seek to identify if anyone in Earth's history has been able to demonstrate powers or skills equal or similar to that which is portrayed in the Star Wars movies. To begin with, we will take a look at some of the extreme physical abilities that we have seen, and then progress through to the more awesome displays of power demonstrated by high-level Jedi Masters and Sith Lords. For efficiency of review, I'm going to group together any extreme athletic feat into this category, including predominantly the Force jump, but also the ability to maneuver the body in the air in an unusually acrobatic way, as well as the capacity to fall a long way down without becoming seriously injured. Humans have always had the capacity for extreme athletic feats. Most notably, parkour experts have demonstrated the ability for remarkable acrobatics, enormous jumps, and also to fall great heights without becoming injured. People trained in breakdancing or gymnastic, tumbling and somersaulting are also able to perform highly complicated athletic maneuvers. Although these skills are certainly impressive, I have not discovered any video evidence of somebody performing a jump, somersault, or great fall that is quite obviously supernatural in power. I did, however, read an account of such a thing in the book Kailash, In Quest of the Self. In this record of Swami Vedananda's 300-mile journey across the mountains surrounding India, Nepal and Tibet, he encounters various reclusive masters with special powers. He describes how one of them in particular was able to leap from one place to the next as if he were floating in the air. He really emphasizes this. To describe that someone is floating in the air is really to say that they were levitating. Although we don't see Jedi Masters or Sith Lords actually levitating their own body in the Star Wars movies, they do appear at times to combine extremely athletic movements with at least a partial levitation, resulting in what I've generally referred here to as Force athleticism. Actual levitation is a fascinating phenomenon that many Star Wars fans wonder and debate about, so we will briefly look at it here. Although we don't see actual self-levitation by the Masters in the Star Wars series, there have been many historical claims of yoga and chi masters being able to levitate their bodies above the ground. I did find some interesting footage on the subject, although the so-called video evidence is not compelling enough to be considered proof, as it can easily be explained away as a magic trick or illusion. Again, I find that accounts found in books offer a more believable record when it comes to claims of self-levitation. In Paramahansa Yogananda's autobiography, he has a chapter titled The Levitating Saint. As a boy growing up in Gorakhpur, India, at the turn of the 19th century, Yogananda had the privileged opportunity to visit many of India's great masters. Bhaduri Mahasaya was just one of the masters that it is said to have been able to consistently demonstrate the weightless state of levitation as seen by many of his disciples and visitors at the time. Other accounts of similar feats were recorded by Baird T. Spalding in his book series Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East. In the books he states that he was one of 11 researchers who in 1984 embarked on a journey to India where they were contacted by the great masters of the Himalayas. In the book, Spalding recalls with specific detail their collective observation of these masters and the phenomenal powers that were revealed to them. A short time into the first book, Spalding reports how their party arrived at a wide river while travelling in the Himalayas. They needed to cross at that point but could not as the river was too swollen. It was a further 4 days hard travel to the next crossing point, so they thought it best to set up camp and wait to see if the waters receded. The next morning, 5 more travellers arrived and began talking with their master guides. To their astonishment, all 12 masters walked down to the riverbank and continued to proceed directly across the river, walking not through the fast-moving waters, but upon the top of them. Spaulding then goes on to reveal how the masters explained how this could be achieved, although he and the rest of his group were unable to gather the courage to attempt it, instead opting to walk the additional 4 days to the next solid crossing point. It is curious to note that of the 3 books mentioned thus far, each of them has the same consistent theme of powerful masters living in or near the Himalayan mountain range. Jedi Masters have demonstrated the ability to rapidly tame and control animals using their force powers. One such example was in the Petranaki arena on Geonosis, when Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan were scheduled for execution. Anakin was able to rapidly tame the highly aggravated Reek, even with his hands tied, and then mount it before proceeding on a rampage around the arena.
Another incidence of animal bond being demonstrated was on Utapau, when Obi-Wan Kenobi was able to immediately connect with the Varactyl and have her intimately respond to his commands.
The ability to bond with animals is a common trait of kind-hearted people. We often find, however, in the case of unusually strong bonds, that these have been built up over a long period of time through continued loving interaction since birth of the animal, and not necessarily because of any supernatural power of the person involved. One case that does stand out from the rest is that of Japanese Chi Master Kanzawa Sensei, as reported on Stan Lee's Superhumans. Kanzawa Sensei claims to be able to take control of any animal using his special powers. It is interesting to note that he certainly appears to be able to impact the animals with this invisible force, causing them to go to sleep. His powers, therefore, however remarkable they may be, are really more of an animal sedation technique, as opposed to actually taking control of the animal's mind, such as Jedi Masters are able to do. At the beginning of the book, Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East, Spaulding describes how one of the very first masters he met, Emil, was able to call birds to him and direct their flight path in the air. According to Spaulding, he demonstrated this ability using an overflying pigeon which he claimed had a message for him and come straight to his arm when directed. Later, when they were walking together past 2 jackals who were fighting over the dead body of a small animal, Emil again demonstrated his ability to control animals, as both jackals stopped fighting immediately and came to place their heads in Emil's outstretched hands in perfect trust, before peacefully resuming their meal. Of the animal connections we have observed, this account is certainly the closest to what we could call a force-animal bond, particularly seeing as these were apparently wild animals. In The Force Awakens, we see a new force power being exhibited by Kylo Ren when he freezes a laser beam in mid-flight, as well as Poe Dameron, the guy who fired it. Kylo Ren also demonstrates this ability again on Takodana in the Maz Castle, where he force freezes and then knocks out and captures Rey. Interestingly enough, I did find some videos on the internet where masters claim to be able to both knock people out and also freeze their body with their force powers. While this is an interesting idea, and I'm sure there is a level of truth to it, otherwise they would not get students, but it appears that if someone is skeptical and doesn't believe that they have the powers, then it may not work on them, indicating the requirement for a willingness or consent from the victim at some level. It may be that more powerful masters could override this requirement, or that the strength of the minds involved determine the outcome. In Yogananda's autobiography, he shares details about a sacred meeting that took place between him and the legendary master, Mahavatar Babaji Nagaraj. Babaji is one of the greatest known masters ever to have lived, and it is said that he has maintained his body form for hundreds or even thousands of years, remaining secluded in a depth of the Himalayas with his group of highly evolved disciples. Due to his limitless power, he has been called the lightning standing still. In this particular meeting, Babaji revealed many sacred things to Master Yogananda, and also, with a gaze of majestic power, electrified him with a glimpse of his cosmic consciousness. Master Yogananda became so overwhelmed by this that he was not able to control himself when Babaji went to leave and tried to pursue him, even though Babaji had said, "Do not try to follow me, you will not be able to do so." Sure enough, as Yogananda tried to step forward, he found that his feet were firmly rooted to the floor and remained so for a few minutes following Babaji's departure. One of the most common force powers demonstrated in Star Wars is the power to control an external object in three-dimensional space, or what is termed telekinesis. Powers like the force choke, force throw, and force pull are all applications of telekinetic power. At various points in the movies, both Jedi and the Sith demonstrate at times enormous power to control external objects and throw them around with invisible arms. This is one of the most impressive force powers ever to be shown. There are so many videos on the internet claiming to demonstrate telekinesis, from simple little Psi wheels to heavier objects such as balls. I'm not going to look at the things magicians do, as they are stated illusions, although at times impressive ones. If telekinesis is truly possible, there must certainly be a science to it, no doubt closely related to the secrets of levitation and magnetic force field control.
When your energy are routed properly, the positive ion will reach the ground and displace negative energy from underground. The ground is negative ions. This is positive ion. Just like air have ion, right? Everything have ions. Positive ion, negative ion, human blending of the fusion of the two. When your energy from lower down here, everything connect down at the root of the ground, just like we're doing staying posture, it will reach the ground to the point that it will displace energy outside and coming up to you like a bubble. And then there are ways to create that electromagnetic energy around it. Where the whole thing becomes like a watch. You know electromagnetic, it's like a magnetic corrugated chain thing. Come.
One mysterious instance of a person reportedly shifting significantly sized objects around with telekinetic power is that of Edward Leedskalnin, the creator of the Coral Castle in Florida. There are many skeptics, of course. However, Edward himself claimed that he knew how the Great Pyramids of ancient times were created. Due to the enormous size of the megalithic stones involved in such ancient constructions, it is still unknown to this day how the colossal weight could possibly be lifted thousands of years ago by so-called primitive cultures. Performing all construction at night under strict secrecy, Edward never revealed how he was able to shift and manipulate over 1,100 tons of limestone all by himself. Although, reportedly, a few teenagers did at one point manage to see him moving the blocks like hydrogen balloons, as they described it. Another extraordinary account of powerful telekinesis is recorded in Yogananda's autobiography. The great master Ram Gopal was instructed by his master, Lahiri Mahasaya, to go at once to the Dasaswami bathing ghat. A short while after he arrived, he noticed a large stone nearby begin to stir and then levitate into the air, suspended by some unknown source. The surpassingly lovely form of Master Madaji emerged from a cave underlying the rock and levitated high into the air. The great masters Babaji and Lahiri also arrived for the meeting in an equally spectacular fashion, although I will not detail this further here, as it is not specifically telekinetic. Force lightning is possibly the most dramatically aggressive power that we've seen in the Star Wars movies. It is also one of the rarest powers demonstrated and appears to be utilized by only high-level Sith Lords such as Darth Sidious and Count Dooku. We do see Master Yoda demonstrate the ability to contain and throw back this awesome power, although he does not appear to initiate it in a directly aggressive way, such as the Sith do. Whereas telekinetic power is likely associated with mastery over the magnetic nature of energy, force lightning is likely related to the mastery over the electrical nature of energy and learning how to harness and project that, one would assume. Since the perhaps rediscovery of electricity, many people have decided to learn how to both harness and manipulate this mysterious power. Most significantly, Nikola Tesla was responsible for inventing the alternating current that we all use to this day, and many different machines and gadgets that survey and apply the various uses of electricity. Most dramatically, his Tesla coils in combination with suitable clothing and equipment provide an entertaining spectacle that is quite similar to the force lightning that we see in Star Wars, only with one big difference. The electricity seen here is generated by technology, something external to the body, whereas force lightning, it appears, is generated from within the body itself. However, Tesla may have discovered something of great significance in relation to the possibility of a human being able to harness this power. Tesla conducted experiments demonstrating that electricity can be distributed wirelessly through electromagnetic induction. Nature also shows us that electricity can manifest from thin air, so to speak, which we understand scientifically to be charged particles in the atmosphere equalizing themselves in an electrostatic discharge known as lightning. Considering lightning is occurring around the Earth at a rate of 40 to 50 strikes per second, we can clearly see that there is enormous electrical potential just waiting to be harnessed in the ionosphere, and that it may be possible for this to occur through the human body. G-Masters have been known to project both electricity and flame from their hands. They say that the key to this ability lies in balancing the yin and the yang energies within them, which enables them to harness the power of electromagnetism.
He says that what he does is no more supernatural than an electric eel, which also knows how to harness its yin and yang energies.
Yin yang, positive and negative, you know. And my positive from here and my negative from here. And we meet together, this can get like electricity.
And is this because you're special? You have a special sort of body?
Meditation every day.
It's meditation that does it?
Meditation every day.
Can you project this energy through your hands only or through other things as well?
Only my hands. Only your hands. Like you can touch me, like this. It's nothing, okay? It's my burn. Just like this.
Although I could not find any authentic footage of electrical bolts shooting out of somebody's hands, such as is shown in the Star Wars movies, I did find some quite compelling video evidence that suggests that some burning power is emitted, although it is unclear what that is. One relevant account that I did come across, again in Yogananda's autobiography, is that of the great master Shankara. Although he was the ancient founder of the Swami order, who were not permitted to perform ceremonial rites for family due to monastic injunctions, he disregarded them on this occasion and cremated his dead mother's body by causing heavenly fire to spurt from his upraised hand. Yoga masters have been known to tame the fire element and become impervious to injury by it, as well as being able to command and control it. Although flames are not the same manifestation as electricity, both are similar in that they are a source of great power and also are able to ignite and burn that which they interact with. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this information, and I am certainly grateful to have been able to compose it with contribution from many great artists whom I have listed below. If this is an interesting topic to you, I invite you to share your comments below and give the video a thumbs up so other people can also see it more easily. Also, if you'd like to see more, remember to subscribe, and I will look forward to sharing more with you in the near future.